Okay, so good morning, everyone. Again, this is Jodie Simmons from Taking Perspective. This has been going straight live to my group, Organisational Secrets for Empowered Women. And today we have a webinar on distractions. What is distracting you? Today, just to clarify, we're going to focus on external distractions, because our internal distractions, our internal dialogue is ideally a whole completely different ball game, and probably take more than 15-20 minutes. It is a big topic when we talk about our internal dialogues and distractions. Okay, so firstly, what's up for discussion? So we've got here, why are we finding ourselves so distracted from our lives? What are some of the types of distractions? Why is our time so important? And tips on how to do a time audit. So firstly, this is about, I think I've gone too far. Oh no, there we go. Why are we finding ourselves so distracted from our lives? So firstly, we want to discuss what actually causes distractions itself. So a distraction is our lack of ability to pay attention. It could be because of a lack of interest you show in the particular subject or object that you're supposed to be giving your attention to. It's usually something that it doesn't have any attractiveness to you. So you know, it's really not something that you would normally put your attention to. And as I mentioned earlier, these distractions come both from external and internal sources. So when we talk about why are we finding ourselves so distracted in our lives, that topic in itself does cross over to our internal sources, but we're just going to skirt around the external sources today. So what are the different types of distractions? Okay, so some distractions we find that we welcome them more than we welcome others. Some we invite them along when you're doing something most important. So other distractions are not welcome, they interrupt us. And when we find ourselves not focused and at the task at hand. So basically you could be sitting there doing a project for work, and your social media keeps pinging. So we can allow this to irritate us, and which only starts to compound the problem. So we will never achieve great things if we are continually distracted by the small things. Oh, I'm going to close myself down there because we can't see. The next one is, what are some different types of distractions? So we can become easily distracted by so many things, and the list can go on from the television to people's lives, what's going around in the world. You know, for example, at the moment, we've got the Johnny and Amber Heard court case. We've got the war in Ukraine. So all these things, they distract us. We want to know what's going on. So, we're internet surfing, we're reading newspapers, magazines, we're worrying about what might and might not happen. We're on social media, we're spending too long on the phone. We could be spending a lot of time looking forward to events. Not that that's a bad thing, but we can procrastinate when we're doing those types of things. So if you find yourself, for example, in an office situation, it could be your co-workers, you're stopping by the photocopier to have a chat. You go to make yourself a cup of tea or coffee, and in the tea room, you run into another co-worker that you haven't spoken to for a few days. So there could be a barrage of emails when you get back to your desk that will distract you and stop you from focusing on your task at hand. So that's just a little side note there for those within the workplace. And here we've got, if social media is your downfall, for instance, there are all sorts of productivity apps that can help you block these online distractions. Okay, so speaking of notifications, turn them off unless they are crucial to your job. Odds are, or crucial to, whatever you're doing. So odds are you don't need to be alerted every time an email comes through, every time someone wants to interact with you on social media, every time your LinkedIn might ping, whatever it is, you can turn those notifications off for a small time. Excuse me. Okay, so why is our time so important? We tend to spend a lot of our time, how we spend our time should add value to our day and to other people's day, because our time is our greatest asset, and how we spend it is a time of investment. So are you investing your time in something that's enjoyable, something that has you growing as a person? Is it improving your life or working towards your future? Or are you just passing by the time? So when we have an opportunity to do something, we show up. It helps if we ask ourselves these questions. Is this the best use of our time in the moment? Will it solve the problem? Will it help me move forward? So when something pops up and distracts you, these are a couple of questions that you can ask yourself to see if they're going to serve you at that particular time to be distracted. So it's important to remain grounded in your own reality and really focus on your time and what your priorities are on a day-to-day basis. So growth needs to be continued, but it also needs attention and effort. So that's important. A distraction can be seen also as dressed up as procrastination. The busier we get in life, the more distractions tend to show up at our door. So here I have a few tips on how to do a simple time audit. Okay, so the first one is get some sort of timer, and you can set it to go off every 30 minutes, I've got here, or you can do every hour. It's up to you. Begin the timer and go through your day, and try not to think about the timer running in the background. Just let it run and quietly go about your plans. So when the timer goes off, whether that's every half an hour, every hour and a half, however you want to set it up. When the timer goes off, I want you to write down what you're doing at that moment that timer goes off. And be honest, if you're checking your Facebook, put down you're checking your Facebook. If you're sending your bestie a funny text, own up to it, write it down, because it will serve your purpose later. Okay, set the timer for another 30 minutes or whatever time slot you choose, and repeat the process for the whole day. And at the end of the day, what you're going to do is you're going to review how you've spent your time. So often we get caught doing things that weren't productive to us. So trying to conduct an audit every day of the week for a whole week will really pinpoint where you're spending your time and what you're doing, because you'll be able to collaborate the information. Okay, so if you find that you've been spending too much time checking your emails or scrolling your social media feed, even chatting to your co-workers, you know exactly where you need to make the adjustments by doing this simple time audit. It will take some effort, especially to run it through a whole week. But if this is distractions is something that you really lean into, and it's something that you suffer from, I highly suggest you do this time audit so that you can help manage that distraction. So in summary, I have a question for you. Why would we allow distractions to risk our success? Okay. So Marianne Williamson says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. So block out the distractions. So now that you've been able to get a better idea of what's been distracting you because you've been able to do this time audit, it's really time to now to block out what those distractions actually are, or work with them on a better time scale. So we tend to, we all have to check our emails at some time of the day, but block out a specific time that you check emails. Don't have them pinging at you while you're at your computer all day, unless you are expecting a very important email to come through. Then that's a different story. But generally, you can set time frames like every 2 hours or 3 hours to check your emails. They don't need to be on alert all the time. Okay, so it's important, even turning off all the notifications on your phone. I think I only have possibly, I don't even know that I have Messenger. Oh yeah, and I do have Messenger notification on, and I have my text message notification on. Aside from that, all my notifications are off 24/7. Okay, so I really don't want to be distracted from what I'm doing, and I want to use my social media in my time and not be a slave to it. I don't want it to be constantly dragging me to it. When I want to go look at my social media, I then go on my phone or my computer and I look up my social media. So I'm not allowing it to control my day or my situations. So it's important to remain grounded in your own reality and focus on your time. What is your priority to you every day? Because we all need continued growth, and we all need to put in effort for this continued growth. So that's it for today. We've run on time, 15 minutes on the dot. Thank you everyone for joining me for today's webinar. As I said, we just skirted around the edges of external distractions, and internal distractions are a whole different ball game. If anyone is having issues with some internal distractions, please reach out. If you want some more information on this time audit and how to set it up, please reach out. Also happy to help. So for those of you who didn't make it today, again, you will receive a copy of this in your inbox. Look out for it. You can also book in for a free clarity call, no obligation, just have a chat, see where you're at, what you're doing, and if you need any help with anything. You can find myself on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on Anchor or Spotify, as they're the same company, Empowering Ordinary Women's Podcasts. So next week's webinar will be the 10th of June. We are halfway through the year. Where has the time gone? I'm doing a webinar next week on, do you have a problem saying no, and creating some boundaries. So I look forward to seeing you all next week at 9 a.m. Follow the link in the comments to register. You'll also, if you're on my socials, you will find the links about to register for any of my webinars or programs. So thank you all for joining me, and I will see you in the group. If you're not in the group, jump on in. Ciao.